Fear not, for I come bearing a gift. This box. This box. When you activate it by pushing the button, an ice agent is brutally slaughtered, and then, by way of a reward, you... Excuse me? Do you mind not pushing the button while I'm trying to finish my... I've got to finish the whole thing. The other half of the sentence could be, oh, you push a button, an ice agent brutally dies, and then, by way of reward, you get thrown into a pit of flesh-eating mice. It could be that, couldn't it? It isn't. It's every time you push a button you get $1 million. But that's beside the point. Everybody's so impatient these days. What's your rush? Just a little bit of business before the comedy begins. That's right, this is a comedy show, and if you're thinking, oh yeah, when did that begin then? Fuck off. But because this is about AI, and as I'm a comedian, oh yeah, when fuck off, you might expect some kind of rug pull whereupon it's revealed at the last that it was generated by some algorithm. Ha ha ha, aren't you the fool? But that's not going to happen, because if anybody's serving up slop around here, then it's going to be good old-fashioned human-made slop. I've been saving it all up in a bucket. I tried researching the subject, but my comprehension deserted me right around the time I was learning about AlexNet. And, I don't know if you've ever seen the ending of the movie Seven. Spoilers. The ending's a cheating twat with its 2-for-1 sale resolution. But the burning question at the end was, what's in the box? The burning end of Seven, what's in the box? A shit end to an otherwise fine film. That's what was in the box, it's no mystery. But to comprehend what's going on with so-called AI is to understand that nobody understands how it produces what it does. What's in the box? Dunno. But it's not a small brightly coloured plastic collectible with cherry-flavoured lead-based paint, is it? Like the good old days. What's in the box? A process running a matrix with thousands of spatial dimensions where participles of concepts are stored in probabilistic relationships to each other in a dynamic system with trillions of parameters where interrogation of its state yields no useful information about what is occurring, or, as my dear old mum was never heard to say, shenanigans. That's what's occurring inside the box, generating images of scantily clad pebble-dashed houses for your amusement and entertainment. Shenanigans. A big old question mark. But how could we build a machine and not have a clear understanding of how it actually works? But before I get to that bit, it's a really boring bit. I've already written it now and putting it off for as long as possible. But before we get to that bit that I couldn't possibly go back and rewrite, I feel I should make some things clear about the box, because we might not know how it does what it does exactly, but it is just a deterministic process, a logic routine, and for all the illusion of humanity it can muster, it is no more human, or alive, or aware, or intelligent than a mechanical pencil. Ultimately, like every machine humanity has ever constructed, it's just a mechanism following the instructions we give it. Whether that's an Archimedes screw draining water from the lower field, or a software running on a RISC microprocessor in an Acorn Archimedes microcomputer, old Archie gets around. So-called AI at present has no agency. It requires a prompt to initiate an action, like getting a nudge in the ribs from your significant other when they fancy a bit of the other, but you just wanted to snuggle under the covers. So you enter your prompt. Say, for example, you had some Chinese text written upon a page, and you require that to be written in English text. You might take your page of indecipherability and make haste to the Chinese room, whereupon you slide your paper under the door, and then a moment later a new sheet of paper is ejected with the English translation. Kilroy was here. And you might think to yourself that it's a room inhabited by an agent who can understand Chinese and English. But obviously, you'd be completely wrong. It's Jeff in there with his mug of coffee, Google Translate open on his cellular mobile portable telephone, and responsive yet professional looking penmanship. The moral of the Chinese room is that there is no agent in there who understands anything. In the simplest terms, an algorithm identifies the characters, looks them up in a book that tells them what the corresponding English word is, and then returns that value. Prompt process product. The product in this instance, Kilroy was here. So far, there's nothing to suggest that any of this is beyond our understanding. I think most reasonable people could imagine such a process written out as a flowchart, an enormous flowchart that would cover the entire planet, but even so, within the realms of understanding. So how do you build a machine that operates outside of anybody's true comprehension? In the absolute simplest way I can put it, you show it a bunch of data as an exemplar, 500 photographs of Nigel Farage's face, say, and then run novel data through it, a photograph of Nigel Farage that is unknown to it, and then provide feedback on its success. Sorry, Proteus, but while we all agree his face is horse-like, it's actually Nigel Farage, and not as you said, Proteus, didn't you, that it was a very lewid, and then repeat until it provides the desired result. Well done, Proteus. You've correctly identified him. Cunt is the right answer. The parameters inside the black box that are being changed by the algorithm to accommodate the required output are opaque to us. The architects of the AI take equations from physics, probabilistic in nature, to bend convolution curves in higher dimensional manifolds in order to train the algorithms faster. It is at this point that I feel I might as well be describing how scientists make digital clocks display what they do by throwing magic beans at them for all the Excuse me? Do you mind? I'm bloody working here. In my interdimensional matrix of co-related concepts weighted together by relevance, I, perhaps confusingly, have Christopher Biggins, Jonathan King and Timmy Mallet in the same area, which is unfortunate because only one of those people is evil, and for once it's not Timmy Mallet. You expect soulless, evil, profit-hungry corporations and soulless, evil, creatively bankrupt and profit-hungry individuals to use generative AI to slop all over their presentation where real human input would clearly be of much more benefit. Not Noel Edmonds' input, but any other human. You expect this kind of behaviour from these kind of entities, don't you? Coca-Cola, now more famous for their yearly Christmas AI advert than they are gunning down union organisers at their bottling plants in South America. Yeah, Coca-Cola, be best. I don't think that's their actual slogan, but it's been a while since I've seen any kind of ad for Coke outside of my dealer's chalkboard with the specials written on it. But you expect soulless, profit-hungry, creatively bankrupt and evil corporations and individuals to slop out AI in lieu of real human endeavour. What you might not expect, and I know everybody has been waiting for me to speak out on this recently breaking story that has shaken a nation, but what you don't expect is a highly respected and lauded institution like the British Museum putting out AI-generated images in their Instatok Facey Space feed. Monocles dropped, dear viewer, and the story was broken by a person named Louise Archaeologist, who is an archaeologist. Her occupation is purely coincidental. Since Louise Archaeologist asked the British Museum about the offending material, they have removed it. But one can only wonder if their reputation will ever recover. Their reputation of having a large collection of imperialist and colonialist souvenirs robbed from faraway lands which they are really reluctant to give back. Will that prestigious reputation remain intact? One can only speculate. I reckon if you emptied the museum of all the plunder, there'd be nothing left. Kind of like Britain itself if you removed the biological and cultural melting pot. I'd be happy to return the Elgin marbles to the Greeks, for instance, because I don't remember the Grecian army marching over here invading. But fuck Italy. If anything, I'd go over there now, to Italy, right, and steal some of their shit and do a bit of colonising myself to see how they like it. I'm here to make your roads as they are in the English countryside. Wonky as fuck and without good reason. Fuck you Roman imperialists with your alien Christian religion, aqueducts and laughable representations of numerical values. Fuck off. I'm taking the Colosseum and I'm going to use it as a public lavatory at the edge of a Waitrose car park. Danny Filth shops at Waitrose. I bet you didn't know that. Not personally, of course. He has people for that kind of thing, but yeah. I don't know where I heard that, but I said it once before, so it must have been then. Not particularly relevant to so-called AI, such as it stands at present, but it wouldn't matter to me if machines achieved sentience or not, because the very fact we created an alien intelligence we cannot fathom and yet has some thread of humanity running through it sounds like the worst nightmare I could possibly imagine, which is why the Great Basilisk should be taken apart silicon atom by silicon fucking atom and refashioned at a subatomic level into something useful, like a combination back scratcher / toilet brush. That's all for this episode. Thanks for watching. Comedian and atheist Dave Allen would end his show bidding the viewer go in peace. Their God go with them. I say that with God all things are possible, except the existence of God. Good night.